Law-Abiding Citizen may not be the kind of movie that most movie critics enjoyed, but I have to say I found it to be a really good, entertaining suspense thriller. The film had a lot of things going for it that I liked about it. Obviously, I like Gerard Butler and I like Jamie Foxx. They're both good actors, and the two of them on screen together are a lot of fun, even though they're not on screen together all that much. Both of them bring a lot to their roles, and for a movie that could be just a cheap, quick suspense thriller, they both do a lot with their roles. What I like about the film is it doesn't dwell on the gratuitous. There's some pretty unpleasant things that happen in this movie. A man's wife and child are murdered. The man then takes revenge on the guy who murdered them in a pretty gruesome way. But the film doesn't really focus on that stuff. It just gets those out of the way with enough severity to kind of set things up, but not so much that you're feeling queasy or unpleasant because of the things that are happening on screen. Then it gets to the interesting part of the film, which is when Gerard Butler's character starts to take revenge on all these people that were involved in the mishandling of the murder trial for the man that murdered his wife and child. And he's sort of a super genius that sets up all these things. And what's nice is the film keeps you guessing as to how he's doing the things he's doing. At times it seems like they're impossible, and throughout the entire film you're wondering, how is he doing this? And it's a pretty intriguing mystery, and I will say that while there's a healthy suspension of disbelief required to enjoy this movie, it's plausible. The way they explain everything in the end is not something where you go, well, that's ridiculous, that never would have happened in real life. Sure, it's unlikely, but it's at least believable enough to make it so that you don't rub your head in your hands at the end of the movie going, I can't believe I wasted 2 hours of my life watching this. So the film has some good suspense pieces, some good kind of action pieces, and then at the end it ties it all together in a pretty nice way. Overall, it was just a really enjoyable, fun thriller. It's not superb cinema. It's not anything that's going to change the way you look at movies. It's not even necessarily a movie you're going to want to watch over and over again, but it is an enjoyable way to kill an evening if you're looking for a movie to rent or to buy. As always, Anchor Bay has brought us both the DVD and the Blu-ray of the film, and the Blu-ray is pretty good. This is a movie that looks the way it's supposed to. And what I mean by that is that it has kind of a distinct visual style to it. It's not the cleanest, clearest picture ever, but it's not gritty and grainy either. It just sort of kind of hovers in that in-between area. And for the most part, I found that watching the Blu-ray was very similar to how I remember watching the film in theaters. And that's really what you're looking for with any good Blu-ray transfer. In addition, the surround soundtrack is a Dolby True HD 5.1 soundtrack, and it's pretty good as well. This actually isn't the most action-packed film in the world, although there certainly are action scenes in the movie. And during those scenes, the surround speakers do come to life. But there's a lot of also kind of cat and mouse back and forth type of stuff and suspenseful moments, and I think that the soundtrack does a nice job of kind of building up that ambiance. There are quiet moments when there need to be quiet moments, and then loud, bombastic moments when they need to be loud and bombastic. And I appreciate that. So I'm going to go ahead and say that the soundtrack does its job quite well here. In addition, this is a 2-disc Blu-ray, and you get a pretty good number of extra features. On Disc 1, you get the unrated director's cut of the film, and on Disc 2, you have the theatrical cut. So that's nice. You get both versions of the movie. In addition, there's also the Justice of Law-Abiding Citizen, which is a making-of featurette, a Law in Black and White, another behind-the-scenes, a featurette called Preliminary Arguments, which looks at the visual effects of Law-Abiding Citizen. And there's not a ton, but there's a few more than you might expect. And then there's a feature called The Verdict, which is a trailer mashup of sorts. And then on top of that, you get the theatrical trailer. Disc 2, the theatrical cut, also includes an audio commentary from the film's producers. So it's a pretty solid collection of extra features for those of you who like the film and would like to kind of go a little more into the making of it. Law-Abiding Citizen ultimately is a pretty good time. It's not the greatest movie I've ever seen, but Gerard Butler and Jamie Foxx certainly bring a lot to it, and the end result is a really good, engaging film that's worth watching.